So this was a pop quiz which was related to the Hooke's law, density, and vectors. In the first question, figure 2.1 shows a spring balance used to measure the weight of a baby. The spring inside the balance extends when the mass is suspended from it. The dial shows the extension of a spring value of mass in kilogram. The spring obeys the laws, Hooke's law up to 175 Newton. State Hooke's law. So how we state Hooke's law? What is the statement like the statement for the Hooke's law? It simply states that extension of a spring is directly proportional to applied force within limit of or up to limit of proportionality. So extension the extension proportional to the applied force up to limit of proportionality. That is known as Hooke's law. State a relation between the mass of a baby and the force exerted. So how the mass and force are related with each other, they will be directly proportional because if you increase the mass, the weight will also increase. And as the weight will increase, the force will also increase. So we can say the force or the mass directly proportional to the force proportional to mass or force increased with the mass. The reading on the spring balance is 8 kilogram. Determine the force exerted on the spring due to the weight. Spring. So that will be equals to weight, which is mass multiplied by gravity. So for gravity, you will take as 9.8. So this will be 80 times 9.8. The marking scheme answer, you will find 10 is there because if as it is a past exam paper. But for the 2023 syllabus onward, you have to take as 9.8. The limit of the proportionality of a spring is a force 175. The extension of a spring, the extension load graph is there sketched. So first we'll have a straight line because when two quantities are directly proportional, there will be a straight line which is passing through the origin. Then what will happen? Because if extension is on y-axis, so what will the shape of the graph? If we go further increasing the force, extension will increase with a greater rate. So the slope will increase. Slope start to increase. If extension was on x-axis, then what will be the shape of the graph? Because they can give this question both ways. So if you have extension on x-axis, it will be a straight line, and then the slope will decrease. If there was a force on y-axis and extension on x-axis. If it is a, so the idea is that it will bend towards the extension axis. If extension is on x-axis, bend towards x-axis. If extension is on y-axis, bend towards y-axis. Question 2, a measuring cylinder contains 30 cm cube of a liquid. Some more liquid is added until the level reaches 50. So we add more liquid to this measuring cylinder until the level reaches 50. So what volume is added? The volume which we add, that is 20 cm cube. And how much the mass has increased? So what is the mass of this which is added? So that is equals to 30 gram. If we need a density, density is mass divided by volume. So the increase in the mass is 30 and the volume is 20. So we'll get 1.5, which match with option C. In question 3, on the diagrams shown, what is the magnitude of the resultant? So magnitude means the value of the resultant. So whenever two vectors are perpendicular to each other, you will use the Pythagoras theorem. So it will be 6 square plus 8 square in a root. So 6 square is 36, 8 square is 64 in a root. That will sum will make 100 under root 100, that is equals to 10. In question 4, a rectangular swimming pool which is having a length of 50 meter and 25-meter wide, and it has a depth of 2 meters. So we need the mass. How to work out the mass? So if we need the mass, as we know, density is mass over volume. So mass is density times volume. The density is 1000 and the volume, the rectangular dimension. So length, width, and height, when we multiply all the factors, so it will be 50 multiplied by 25 multiplied by 2. And when we multiply all of them, this will give us option D as the right answer, the final when we multiply. So if we need the mass, it is density multiplied by volume. Or it will be 2.5 into 10 power 6, which is equivalent to the option D. If the volume is given in centimeter and density is kilogram per meter cube, so don't forget to convert the units. So this was a pop quiz which was related to Hooke's law, density, and vectors.